Okay, here we go. Bethany, welcome to the show.
Hiya, thanks for having me on.
Bethany down in Cornwall.
Yeah, in Cornwall. Should I
Yeah.
do a little introduction? Yeah. So I'm Bethany.
You want to give yourself an introduction and then we'll crack on.
I'm Bethany. I'm from Cornwall, and I do CrossFit. I'm kind of a CrossFit athlete. I compete like mostly team, but I'm trying to get better and like move more into individual. I've also been on the TV show SAS Who Dares Wins, which some people might know me from. And I've lost quite a dramatic amount of weight, and on my social media I talk about that, mental health, and like body image, and a couple of other things. But yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think I'm actually a new follower to your stuff, the last couple of months. And as soon as I clicked onto your page, I got a good sense of, and I kind of sense that you would be the type of person I would like to speak on this topic about, just from some of the things that you mentioned there in terms of like, you had like an amazing weight loss transformation to get to the position that you are now. Obviously on SAS Who Dares Wins, which, like I was just telling you before, like I really like that program, but I'm actually quite new to that as well. So I've just started watching it. So I guess kind of like fanning a little bit in terms of that you've been on that. Maybe you can share some of your experiences on there.
I haven't even been on it, honestly, half the time.
Yeah. So you don't get recognised in the streets then down in.
Yeah, but because it's lockdown, I've not been out, and because I live in Cornwall.
Wasted opportunities.
Yeah. I went to London actually to do strength in depth, the competition over here, and I got recognised like every turn of the corner. It was so weird, and like queues for selfies, and I'm like, I don't want this.
We're going to go into that anyway, but that's awesome. And then I think just more recently, and this is when I approached you to come on the podcast, was you were putting out quite a lot of content on your story, on your Instagram posts about kind of like insecurities, perhaps some of the insecurities that you have yourself, and then just kind of posing that question to other people and asking, hey, it's okay to be to have those insecurities. Here's how we can deal with it. Here's what it means. And that's kind of what I wanted to go down today.
Yeah.
So I guess no better place to start than just giving yourself a little bit. I know you've introduced yourself, but maybe more around your own personal fitness journey in terms of losing weight.
So in 2016, that's probably where I hit like rock bottom, and I was 18 stone. I looked it up. I think that's about 114 kilos, so it's heavy. And I can send you a clip later if you want to use it anywhere. But it's so that you can see quite a dramatic difference. I was morbidly obese, and I was really depressed at the time because I struggled with bipolar disorder, and I was just in a hole and I didn't know what to do. And then when I went to get help, because I had a few like crisis situations that happened where it led to my diagnosis, they told me that one of the ways I could help improve my mental health would be to improve my diet, sleep more, and then get into fitness. So I just started on that path, and then I started calorie tracking because I followed like Obese to Beast. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He's lost a dramatic amount of weight, and he made me think that it was possible. And I was like, right, I'm gonna do it. And then found CrossFit, fell in love with that as a sport, and then just started focusing more on the enjoyment of exercise and sport again, because I was really sporty as a kid, and so all of that came back. And then I lost 6 stone in the first year, and I've lost a total of 7, and then I put on about another stone back in muscle after that. So, and that is sort of what I'm battling with now, because I'm tall. So, and this is my post that you picked up on the other day actually. So I'm 83 kilos, which is, I think that's around 13 stone, which is heavy. And I think any other woman would think that you'd be obese at that weight. And that is something that's so hard to deal with for me. And I can't
remember if it was another post that you shared or I saw it somewhere else, but it's a clip or a picture that I've seen a few times before, but it's 8 or 9 women in a row, all in their underwear, and they're all the same weight, but they're just completely different shapes and sizes.
I found that one the other day, and that I've started to think about it more a lot recently, because it's something that I'm battling with, and I have been dieting, and I've been dieting through lockdown, and so my lowest weight was about 72 kilos, and I started looking at it in kilos because I was in like Olympic weightlifting and wanted to compete in that. And I, for some reason, wanted to get down under the 69s, which for my height is ridiculous.
And not CrossFit either, right?
No, well, actually though,
The
because
gymnastics,
in
okay.
gymnastics, if you're lighter, gymnastics is easier. But something I've realised recently is I need more upper body muscle mass to help me with my gymnastics, and it's not about getting lighter. But part of the problem for me is if I look at all of the CrossFit athletes, you can look up all their metrics. I'm like 10 kilos heavier than most of them. So in my head, I was like, I need to get lighter. I still need to get lighter. And up until like the last month, that's been my goal to like, because I was like 83, 84 kilos after SAS because I put on weight after the show because they starve you, and then I just couldn't stop eating.
Did you find that, and obviously you lost, when you were at your heaviest and you kind of embarked on this journey, and you said you had someone that made you believe that it was possible. That's the most important thing, right, to begin with. Having someone there, there's probably the smallest of changes that you need to make with your lifestyle, in terms of, it might be in exercises, going for a walk, or doing a couple of gym sessions a week, or cutting
Yeah.
out junk food here or there. But it's nothing significant. But that's that kind of that effect that leads on to everything else. And now you're in a position where you're focusing more on like your performance rather
Yeah.
than strictly weight loss.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people as well, when they start, they think they have to go like super hard. But if my TDE was so high, like I could have eaten 3,000 calories a day and still lost weight at that weight. So you actually don't need to restrict too much. So many people go on like that 1,200 calorie diet, and it's just too far. And that's when all the binge eating and stuff happens. And like walking is fine. Like walking's great for burning calories and getting down. But yeah, I think the most important thing is enjoyment, and then that is where the sort of performance aspect came in for me. And CrossFit helped me like love my body for what it can do rather than what it looked like, and that has had like a knock-on effect throughout my life. I think I'm at like the final point of that now, where I'm realizing that I really need to believe that, and I need to let go of this weight thing and like stop trying to be under 80 kilos. I think at my height, I don't think that's even possible. I think if I want to be good at my sport, I just have to let go of that.
And I guess that's what led you into more of your stuff around your social media now, that is talking about those insecurities. Like
Yeah.
it sounds to me like you've got that kind of like clear sense of purpose, like clear sense of direction now, in terms of you managed to channel all of that into a sport like CrossFit. But then what about all the other people out there? I know you said you were a bit overwhelmed when you put out a post of how many people responded to you.
So many. I didn't realize that there were so many people. That someone messaged me actually, and she was like, I want to hear more about like what, because I've got a YouTube channel now, and they were like, I want to see what I can eat in a day, but like for a tall girl. And I'm like, oh, okay, why is that different because I'm tall? And she was like, well, you obviously eat more, and I can't relate to any woman that puts out a what I eat in the day, because she was 5'11" and around the same weight as me, and she's like, I can only relate to the men because I eat so much. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm the same. And then I put it out, and I put out like, is there any other tall girls that are like heavy? And I got so many messages, and all of these people were like 5'9" to 6'2" was the tallest girl. It was amazing. And there was a girl that was like 100 kilos, but she looked the same as me, and like she wasn't overweight, she was like strong. And it just hit home that I'm like, I need to let go of this weight thing. I don't need to be light. There's hundreds of girls out there that are like a similar weight to me, and I need to stop comparing my weight to other people, because I'm tall and you can't compare your weight to other people.
I think it's just human nature to want to compare yourself to other people. And obviously we're going to get onto social media now.
Yeah. Well,
One thing,
my mum was the main thing though, because she was really light. She was 9 stone. So as soon as I hit 13, I was 12 stone. And also the BMI thing, that's all weird, because they're like, oh, you're overweight. And I'm like, I've got really big legs. So yeah, like it started me comparing myself to my mum and her weight. And then and also like the TV shows, like the How to Lose Weight Well, and there's like women on there and they're like, oh, I'm 12 stone, I'm so fat. And I'm like, I'm 12 stone. Like, does that make me fat?
yeah. And it's when you look at weight as that singular number and base, and people put so much emphasis into that number that's on the scale. And it's been through years and years of people weighing themselves and reading things and taking advice from different people. It's just ingrained into them. And me as a fitness professional, I can tell someone and say, hey, we're going to weigh you every couple of weeks, and they might weigh themselves every day, and then all of a sudden they put on weight. And then it's easy for me to try and explain it, but for them to grasp that concept and say, hey, you are doing a good job, you're exercising, you're sticking to good nutrient dense foods, you're doing all the things you need to do. Your weight isn't going to come down straight away, but keep doing what you're doing. But it's trying to find that, that grey area in between for them to understand that.
I think like pictures were so helpful for me. I always like advocate measuring, like tracking in 3 different ways, because I weigh myself, but the weight's mostly for making sure I get better at gymnastics, and also just keeping an eye on what weight category I am in if I want to compete in weightlifting. But I also do waist measurements and progress photos, and I noticed such a huge difference in the photos, like especially lately with like my upper body muscle. Now I've been doing more gymnastic stuff, which is one of my weaknesses, and my waist measurement has also gone down like an inch, but my weight is 83 kilos, which is the same weight as I was after Christmas. So I'm visibly leaner. It's just, I just need to let it go.
You can't be doing progress pictures, and like even now when I have like a new client come on board, and I'm like, let's do pictures, because I just know how much of a difference you can see in pictures compared to like what it says on the scale, even to measurements as well. But I think that people always have this thing in the back of their mind that they're going to be flourished all over Instagram if they do. But no, just I don't need to see it, but just take pictures for yourself, keep them there.
They were never meant to appear on Instagram. Like if you look at them, actually, I was so depressed. My room is a mess. Like there's just so much stuff because I was so depressed at the time. But I was taking the pictures for me, and because that Obese to Beast guy, he was like, take photos because you'll want to compare them. And I'm so glad I did, because every month I would take another one, and you could just see huge differences in my weight. And also what was really empowering for me is seeing muscles appear. Like I remember the first time I saw my traps, and I was still really overweight, but I could see them like popping up. I'm like, oh my god, some weightlifting.
That's awesome. All right, let's move on to like the role of social media and how people view their own bodies on there, because like I said, this is one of the reasons I got you on today. How do you find the role of social media?
I love social media, but I do make sure that I follow accounts that aren't, I feel like there's a lot of accounts out there, like fitness influencers, that almost perpetuate the kind of hate yourself skinny mentality. They're like, oh, you've got to be disciplined, you've got to work really hard, like train every day, diet, cut out carbs, don't eat pasta, like, and they've all got abs, but they're not, most of the time they are training, let's be honest, to look good on Instagram and take the pictures with the abs out and like the selfies and looking really lean. But they're not going for performance. They're not necessarily athletes, but it's all about being lean. And I don't think that that's like a healthy way to live. I don't think that feels personally good. When I've tried to do that, tried to get lean just to get lean, just to look good, I feel like performance goals are so much more empowering, and like lifting heavier weights is just so much more empowering. So I try to follow accounts that kind of strive to perform better. I follow athletes, and I follow regular people like me that just want to get better rather than focusing on looking good.
That was going to be one of my questions to you, actually. It was going to be around if you've got your Instagram and you've got following a couple of thousand people or a couple of hundred people, whatever it is, and you're following people that generally make you feel negative about yourself. Now, I don't mean looking at them and going, oh, look at his six pack, that's sweet. Or if you look at it and go, oh man, I wish I had abs like that, and start feeling negative. Is it like a straight up unfollow then? Or is there that line where it can be quite motivating? What do you think on that?
Neither, actually. I think that's separate issues, really. I think the whole unfollow anyone that makes you feel negative, that's just hiding from the problem, because in real life you're going to go out and you're going to see people that are skinnier than you, and if you have that issue already, you're going to be jealous, and you're going to want to be as skinny as your friends or look as good as somebody else. That's an issue that you've got to deal with inwardly, and stop comparing yourself, whether it's on social media or anywhere. So I don't think unfollowing is necessarily solving the problem, but I think for some people unfollowing like initially can help. And there are just some accounts out there that are just like not great, like, to follow, because like what I said, they just, it's just about how they look and it's not about performance. And I don't feel, I mean, unless you're a bodybuilder or unless there's something you really want to do, I don't feel like having physique goals as your main number one goal is particularly mentally healthy for a lot of people, especially from someone, because I struggle with eating disorders and body dysmorphia specifically. I can't have that as my number one goal because it would just affect me so badly. So, but yeah, I think unfollowing all accounts that are like thinner than you or more athletic than you, that's not solving the problem. But if those accounts are just about looking good, then maybe do unfollow them. But
Yeah,
that's I try to do. So I might be like thinner or more muscular than some people, but I make sure. So I take videos mostly for technique, but a lot of them end up on Instagram, especially if I feel like I've done well. But initially I found myself not posting the ones where I could see like my belly jiggle because I've got like a bit of loose skin from the weight loss, or like just a bit of my body that I didn't like. I wouldn't post it, and then I realized I was doing it and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, because what if like there's a 15-year-old girl watching Instagram and she doesn't see normal bodies jiggling about when they lift weights, and she like is scared of wearing shorts because she's worried that her thighs rub together. I want to be a representation for those people that are like scared to wear shorts in the gym, or like, because I get too hot, I just wear a sports bra and shorts, and like my belly jiggles. I'm not gonna edit that out. So I'll post those now because I want to be real for people.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of, obviously when you're sat there looking at and following people on Instagram, we're our own like biggest critic, right? We know, as personal, we know every issue that we've got going on in our lives. Like we know all of our flaws, we know all the things we need to improve on, we know the things we're good at, that type of stuff. Obviously Instagram is there to paint this picture where, you know, they show the best parts of people's lives. So I think one of the main things to take from that is that obviously having the bigger picture in mind of what you're doing. But like something that I heard not long ago is like, imagine, you know, sitting down and watching two films. Now the person you're following is an edited blockbuster #1 hit. And your movie, because you've got all of those faults and insecurities that you already know about, is like the same film, but without being edited. It's like got all the bloopers in there still. It's got all like the bad casting, that type of stuff. And you're literally comparing those two films and going, like, no, that's the best thing for me. And then another way of thinking about it is like, you know, if you're judging your position or making assumptions based on what social media is, maybe someone's making you feel a bit negative or a bit down, you know, scrolling through your feed. You know, all you would need to do is maybe go walk into a hospital and see people who are in pain, you know, people who have got cancer, people who are recovering, families upset because they've lost loved ones. Like your position becomes completely different then, right? You've gone from being someone like, oh, woe is me, that person's got a six-pack and they've got a really nice body, to being someone who goes, hey, do you know what? I actually feel really great about the position that I'm in right now.
I think though, with the sort of other people have it worse kind of mentality, because I struggle with depression, and people have said to me before, oh, other people have it worse, what have you got to worry about? Because quite frankly, my life was great when I was struggling with depression. Like although I was depressed, there was nothing else going wrong. So they're like, what have you got to be sad about? And I'm like, I've got a mental illness. Like it's just a switch that flicks. It's like there isn't. So I think people experience things and it can make you feel super bad, even though maybe they don't have cancer, they don't have it worse. They're still experiencing it. But I think what a lot of people do is they're like, oh, I've got depression, or I feel bad because I'm not skinny. And then they just leave that problem there. They don't go, right, I need to tackle that. And I think that's what they need to do, instead of going, oh, well, I feel shit about my body. Sorry, I'm not sure I'm supposed to swear. They need to then go, why do I feel like that about my body? What can I do to change that? They need to start facing those things head on. And that's something that I really try to do. And especially with this weight thing lately, is I posted a few things, I got a few messages back, and I was like, oh, I'm not even like practicing what I preach. I have this issue with my weight and I'm not dealing with it. Why am I not dealing with it? How can I deal with it? And that's where I'm going from here, is I'm tackling it. And we need to get more people to tackle, again, that when they scroll through social media and they start feeling negative about themselves, they need to tackle why they feel negative about themselves and find a way to change that, rather than just avoiding the problem. And I have a similar thought about the whole ditch the scales as well, because I feel like that again is hiding from the problem. And for me, the way I tried to work on the whole scales thing is by recognizing fluctuations in my weight, and that really helped me. But yeah, again.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. The ditch the scales thing. I like, especially I do a lot of online coaching, and someone's weight is very important for the process. But I think it's the education around what the scale means, which is the most important. Like, to be honest, if someone starts to mean their goal is fat loss and they lose an initial 2 or 3 kg, like, I'm normally a bit disappointed if they don't put a couple of kg back on at some point. Like, for me as a coach, I want to see that graph go like this. If I just see it go like this, there's a problem, like, because we know the muscles, you probably losing muscle, a lot of water weight, that type of stuff. So it's not as plain sailing. But I like what you said there about when you mentioned about, videos of your belly fat jiggling, stuff like that, because I have noticed there's a lot more of that going on in terms of, like, especially females posting these things, and, the accounts where, the females are posting like the best poses, and they're saying, hey, look how easy it is to make my abs look a little bit leaner, or my butt look a little bit better, that type of stuff. So that's definitely happening. And it made me laugh because on Saturday I made a lasagna, and I was like, because I don't cook that often, like, my wife will back that up as well, and I was like really proud of it. And I've probably cooked this lasagna like 5 or 6 times, like a veggie lasagna, and I was really proud, got it all done, and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to put this on Instagram, I'm going to take a little story. And it didn't go on Instagram. And do you know why it didn't go on Instagram? Because I forgot to put the tinned tomatoes in.
Oh, no.
So I had a lasagna with no tomato in there, and I thought, I can't gram that now, because everyone's going to think I'm a loser. And I was thinking it's exactly the same thing, right? I was going to, put it on there, good husband award, a veggie lasagna, and then I was like, no, I'm not putting that on now.
It's that fear of judgment though, isn't it? And I think sometimes for me, like, if I just think about the people looking at it, I'm like, well, no, I want to be real. I don't want to be one of those fake people that only puts up their, like, highlight reel. I want to be relatable to other people. I know there's somebody out there. Like, I on the food topic, it's a weird one. Okay, I don't like crunchy broccoli. I like my broccoli slightly overcooked, and I've been putting on my soggy broccoli, and I've got a lot of hate about it. But there's also people messaging me back like, yeah, I love my broccoli overcooked. So like, there's always people out there that relate to you no matter what. And it's the same thing with the weight. I really didn't expect people. I thought I was the only person that was my height and my weight, weirdly, which is stupid. But there's so many people. So yeah, don't judge your lasagna. There's probably someone else out there that forgot to put tomatoes in.
Yeah, and do you know what? I've eaten it still. Like, obviously I wasn't going to throw it away. It tasted all right. Like, it wasn't as good as a lasagna. It was a bit creamy, but yeah, we got to the end of that anyway.
There is a version of lasagna that's like that though. You've just invented something new. That's what it is.
Oh, there we go. You're always pulling out the brighter things of it. That's perfect.
I try to.
So how do you find, I like what you said there about a lot of your content that you're putting up now is, you said before about, it's about your lifts and it's about technique and it's about tips and stuff that's helped you. I guess that goes back to what people are putting up. It just has to have value, right? If you're putting stuff up as a fitness professional, and to be honest, I'm going to go, because I feel like obviously this is more of a fitness podcast, but it's happening in all other areas, right? Mummy bloggers, travel bloggers, online fit pros. I know that's the same, but it happens everywhere, right? Trying to paint this amazing picture of what's happening in life. But the posts that go out, before you press send or, publish it on your Instagram, is that delivering value for someone? Is it just a picture of you with your top off with a nice quote that someone's probably used a million times before? Yeah. Or is there something in there? And it could be as small as something about cooking your broccoli or trying a veggie lasagna with no tomato.
Just a little tip that someone finds useful as well. Like, I've heard, like, it's good to be of, like, inspiring stuff that, like, helps people, or like educational, so many educational accounts. I always, when I follow people, that's what I look for. Are they going to inspire me in some way? Are they going to educate me? Or are they going to be entertaining? And if they're not, then I don't really want to follow them, because if it's just pictures, like selfies, then I don't necessarily want to follow them anymore. But I think Instagram's changing though, because I'm not sure if it's done it with you, but they're hiding the likes and stuff now, aren't they? So they're kind of getting rid of like the vanity metrics
But that feeds into exactly why Instagram and why influencers and why it's become so popular, because getting a like on a picture or a comment or a direct message is a straight up hit of dopamine to your brain.
Yeah.
Which is good, right? We like dopamine.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reason that we're all addicted to our smartphones these days. That's the reason that we go and do different things. So that dopamine hit, that's all based around likes. Even now we're having this conversation, I'm thinking, oh, it does feel good though when you get, 50 likes or 100 likes on a picture. You go, oh yeah, that's cool. And it's just to make you feel good.
I have notifications off. I don't have like, I can't though, because
yeah, you got more than me though, so you probably need to.
And I find I'm the opposite. I get quite overwhelmed. I do love like people commenting and people relating, and I love helping people, and that's why I do it. But like especially the other day, the comments can get quite overwhelming, and it is hard. I want to reply to people because I want to have that discussion and I want to help them in some way. But yeah, it's not for me. It's not a dopamine hit.
Yeah. Right, I have to get into this. You need to talk to me, and you can keep it brief as you like, but your experience on SAS Who Dares Wins, because like I said, I can now.
Yes. It was awesome. I loved it. I loved and so I didn't finish the show. I got cut out of the show in one of the phases, and they told me like an hour before that I was one of the strongest mentally and physically, which are basically the two metrics you're tested on. So to me, it didn't make any sense. But I think personally it was because I was enjoying it too much.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was smiling. They kept telling me off for smiling. And I'm like, you're letting me upset out of a helicopter. I'm not going to frown. Yeah. I love this. So, yeah, I mean, I could have done with more food. We're on about 800 calories a day and we were exercising 24/7. So recovery's not there. And yeah, hugely overtraining. One thing I will say is you only see 10% of what actually happens on the show. Like, yeah, like you see like a clip, and if you imagine that just happening all day. Oh, and loads of people are like, what's it like when it's off camera? Like, there is no off camera. It's like Big Brother. Like, there's no downtime. They film 24/7. They're horrible to you 24/7. And you have to go on like night watch, and they wake you up in the middle of the night to change your mic over, and you're just constantly wet and cold.
How long is the process? How long is it?
It's 14 days, I think. Okay. Or it might have been 11, and then the interrogation is another couple. Yeah,
because when you watch it, you get the feeling that it's over like a really long period of time, but it's just literally 14 days.
24 hours a day though, so if nobody ever stays up for 14 days straight today. We didn't get any sleep, so it felt like a couple of months. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you I guess you probably learned some things both on the physical side and the mental side. That's probably one of the points of the show, right?
Yeah, my story was aired quite a lot, I think, on that, because I've had some past experiences with some like abusive relationships, and in the way the show deals with these things, they were like, oh, we'll make you fight a man. Great. So I ended up fighting Jay Morton, who ended up being the mole. So he's a 10-year SAS operative. I thought he was a window salesman at the time, so that was really interesting. But I got a few punches in, and I did give him a black eye, which they didn't show. I wish they did. And I got a few more punches in that they showed as well. But I was really proud of myself for that, because I like stood up for myself the first time, and that was one of my biggest takeaways. Is I now know that I can stand up for myself and get myself out of that situation if I need to. But yeah, it also made me believe that I'm stronger than I ever thought I was. Like, I knew I'm an adrenaline junkie, so I'm not really scared of like heights and things, but I had to carry James up a mountain like 2 or 3 times, and he is heavy. Like, he's over 100 kilos. And so like in CrossFit, they wouldn't go, oh, here's a 100 kilo barbell, go and walk that up a mountain 3 times. That's just ridiculous. But that's what I had to do, and before the show, I would never have believed that I could do that. But I now know that if there's like a 100 kilo casualty somewhere and they need carrying up a mountain, I can do it.
I think obviously not everybody's going to get the opportunity to go onto a show like that, and obviously they open up some deeper wounds that you mentioned already. And I know you said before the podcast about being bipolar as well, and I think
wary of that on the show.
Yeah,
so
I
well.
think the message that you're delivering, just again, I've only been following you for the last couple of months, but the message you're delivering, you're taking experiences, and this is what you need to think about when you work in like a team as well. Send someone on a course, let them learn the knowledge and bring it back to you as well. And I feel like you're kind of an advocate for that you're taking your experience from obviously on the TV show, but from your own experiences, you're really trying to help and give people that advice that might need it.
Yeah, I just like, I think I probably share too much, but I started my Instagram for totally different reasons. I started to track my own progress, and so that I could look back on what I was doing and how far I'd come with CrossFit and with my weight loss and stuff. I never for one second thought I'd end up with a following, but the more I posted about my own experiences and what I was going through, the more it became helpful to other people. But it was also therapeutic for me, just to sort of, I'm using it as like a journal, and that's how it started, and I still continue to do that. But I don't think they realise, but everybody that follows me helped me so much. Like the other day with that battle with the whole weight thing, that I don't think I would be where I am with it, like thinking that it's okay to be 83 kilos if it wasn't for all of those people that messaged me. So although like it obviously seems like I'm helping people, and I love that, and that's why I do it, they're also helping me so much more, and I'm so grateful for that too, because it's just, but yeah, I'm just using it as a journal and like just saying how I feel, and I find that works both for me and for them, so it's a win-win.
That's awesome. And like, we're going to wrap this up now, but I obviously, we've talked about your Instagram and your message, and everything's very authentic in there. We know that not everybody's is as authentic. I think for me, like, this podcast wasn't about us talking and saying, oh, look how good we are as fitness professionals and always spreading a good word. Like, if I look at my own, I actually had looked just before our call, and yeah, there is definitely times in there that I posted pictures like in the Maldives or, on a boat.
I do that
for the sake of, I might say, yeah, it's because that's what I'm doing and that type of stuff. But there's an element of glorifying that situation as well. So I'm definitely guilty of that. Never do it to kind of like make someone feel bad about themselves or make someone envious of me. Like, believe me, I've got a lot of stuff going on. But I think one of the things that happens a lot that is easy to change, like so easy to change, and I've never done it. It's people saying things on Instagram, Facebook in the comments that they wouldn't say to someone to their face. Almost gives it that keyboard warrior type approach. People can be so nasty. People, like, I haven't really had it, but I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that can relate to that.
It's awful.
Yeah, like people commenting on, just like I said.
I get quite a lot of hate actually I get it from the body positive community, which sucks, because like I really want to be part of that. I think it's clear from my Instagram why I should be part of that, but there's lots of people, I don't know if you know about it, in that like health at every size, body positivity, that are really anti weight loss, and they think transformation photos are toxic. So I get quite a lot of messages from people like that, and I also just get the men that are like, oh, you're too muscly, you look like a man. But yeah, that just needs to stop. Why do people do that?
Yeah, we've got another whole podcast to go down if we go down that route, right?
Yeah.
Well, all right, we'll wrap it up there. Bethany, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Where can they find you? Because I know that you've got your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, so I'm Sporty Beth CF on both of them, so Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I've got a video coming out this week actually, and it will be talking of real, because it could come off like, so I went out with Inaccessible Solutions a couple of days ago, and we did some abseils, and I abseiled off a bridge, and it's kind of like SAS style stuff, but you get to see it sort of from my perspective, and I'm being my normal real self, and like there's a bit where it's like, oh, I was a bit scared of that, and I made sure I like left all those bits in, and I'm not just trying to screen myself as this like badass that's never scared of anything. Like everybody gets scared, and I'm gonna continue to be real in that way on my YouTube, hopefully. So
wow, that's awesome. And like I said before, you're definitely inspiring on your social stuff, so keep up the good work. Okay.
I love the podcast as well. Like they're really great, and I was listening to, it was on your Instagram the other day. Was it Chris and Dan? They were saying kind of similar things to me about being more focused on fitness than like looking good, and I like the vibe.
Awesome. All right, thanks very much, Bethany.
Thank you so much.